Hey everyone, how's it going? This is Richard, and welcome back to another weekly watch list video sponsored by MarketSmith. And as always, we're going to run through my focus list for this upcoming trading week and talk about both their fundamentals and technical setup. And before we do that, just to make sure we've got some situational awareness, let's bring up a chart of the S&P 500. We're potentially rallying into an area of, potential resistance. Obviously, we don't know what's going to happen, but be aware that that 200-day moving average is looming just above, and we had a nice move and ramp late last week. And I'd love to see maybe a few days of consolidation. I think that would build out a lot of charts, and that would set us up for a nice move above that 200-day moving average on the Nasdaq Composite. We're also above those short-term moving averages as we see here, but we're a little bit further from that key 200-day moving average, but we're back above the 50 and 21 EMA. So with that, let's move on back to the focus list. Let's bring up ACDC and take a look at this setup. So overall, it's above this line here. You can see it held it, had a nice upside reversal inside day on this past Friday, obviously a shortened trading day, and you see very low volume there, but of course it was a shortened trading day. I'd love to see a breakout through this level right here. Maybe it takes a few more days to kind of build out here, but you could also buy it through that inside day high here, and that would be a potential pivot, also potentially against that 21 EMA if it rallies up from that level. But really nice fundamentals as well as estimates for 2023. Moving on, we've got Amgen. This obviously is a slower mover, but many people look for dollar volume moves or high dollar moves, not just pure percentage moves. So this is setting up nicely. It's pulled back into that 21 EMA area, and I'd love to see it hold this gap and continue to build up and just kind of break this short-term flag on volume. And yeah, that would be very constructive. It's in a nice uptrend, higher highs and higher lows, and is moving out from this longer term base and going over to a weekly. You can see that we've been consolidating near this area for quite some time, and this is a significant move from this level, and we have that breakout on volume. So that is Amgen, and the entire biotech space is pretty similar. We'll go through a few more charts, I believe, on this watch list here. Calyx also forming a nice move trend above the 21 EMA, 50 SMA, and you could buy it right through this pivot here, basically right through 70. Set your stop right at Friday's low or the 21 EMA. Nice sales growth here, not much to speak of in terms of annual estimates, but you've got nice fund ownership in this name as it pushes up the right-hand side of this longer term consolidation. And I really like this move up on high volume. Dexcom, a similar look here, moving off the bottom here, higher highs and higher lows, pulling back, compressing into that 21 EMA, and you could buy it right through these highs, setting your stop right at the low of this range, or use the 21 EMA, and that would be a pretty tight stop. And I'd love to see this push up from volume and quickly challenge the high of this formation right here. Moving on, we've got ENPH, which is pretty wide and loose. It's kind of choppy and volatile, so keep that in mind. A lot of eyes are on this one, but I'd love to see a continued push upwards and significant breakout through 324.84. Call that 325, and you could set your stop right at Friday's low. It was definitely viable potentially on Friday, setting that stop at the low of the day. We're a little bit stretched from that 21 EMA, so I wouldn't mind actually kind of one more pullback contraction, get some eyes off it, and then a breakout here where you could set your stop loss right at the low of this range and let that 21 EMA kind of catch up to price as well. That would be very constructive, especially if there's a shakeout within this kind of range that it could potentially form. So that is ENPH. Solars definitely are a potential leadership group. We've got many acting well, FSLR area as well, pushing up. They're a little bit extended. We'll talk about SHLS later on in the video, which is a little bit more actionable, in my opinion, early next week, but great numbers here from ENPH. GFS, this space in general, semiconductors, is showing some life. I just am looking for a big push here on volume through this pivot. You could also buy it through Friday's high, going over to a 60-minute chart. You can see a short-term range here, which is that kind of early pivot. We're a little bit far from that 21 EMA, so I wouldn't mind, a handle to form, or ideally just kind of a big shakeout, nice close, and then a push up, kind of breaking through definitively through that 65.96 pivot and pushing towards these all-time highs, but definitely an area to watch as we'll cover it later on in the video. AHR also acting quite well, but a little bit extended here. MedPace, another recent earnings gapper, huge push up here on volume. Now it's consolidating and it's compressing a little bit. We had a decent bar here, not the best close, but we're compressing here, letting that 21 EMA kind of catch up to price. So you could just buy, kind of push through this area here, or just a push up off the bottom here. And if this is a higher low, set your stop right below that level. So that is MedPace Holdings. Pod is a sister stock to Dexcom, basically watching for a breakout through this flag. You could set your stop loss either at this low right here or use the 21 EMA. We're a little bit far from that, but if this kind of compresses one more time and then pushes out through the flag, definitely you could use that 21 EMA or even this higher low right here. But really strong numbers, and look at these estimates for 2023. That's definitely significant. SANM, also within the kind of potential leadership group here, electron contract manufacturers. We've got a nice push up here on volume, and now it's gone really quiet and tight. You can basically buy it right through this range. I love this shakeout here, and this is definitely maybe more of a swing trade setup, but it's showing a lot of power here. And going over to a weekly chart, let's take a look at that. You can see it's moved out from this longer term base, and now it's forming higher highs and higher lows. And we had another base right here, and you can see how tight it was. Looks like double inside weeks on the weekly chart. So that is SANM. Moving on, we've got Shoals. I love to see it kind of contract versus 30 one more time and then push upward. You can manage risk versus that whole number as well as that higher low. And that would just give you maybe one more pivot through this high where you can manage risk against very easily. But definitely showing a lot of price strength along with the rest of the group, which is definitely one of the leadership groups in my opinion. UTHR, you could basically buy it through these levels right here. A nice push off the lows of the space, now consolidating, and it's a little far from that 21 EMA, so maybe one more contraction would be fantastic, would be ideal, but we'll have to see what happens. I want to push through on volume. That's what I'm looking for. So that's a quick run through of the names on my focus list for this upcoming trading week. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comments, and maybe one or two names that you're watching that I didn't cover, and I'll try to give you my take on those as well. So thanks again for watching. If you did enjoy, go ahead and leave a like down below, subscribe if you're new to the channel, and I'll see you guys in future videos. Take care and good luck next week.